In the remote village of Llanwydd, nestled deep within the misty valleys of rural Wales, a stillness clung to the air that felt more oppressive than the fog rolling off the black mountains. The village, a scattering of weathered stone cottages and winding lanes, seemed untouched by time, its isolation a barrier against the outside world. Yet beneath its serene facade lurked a darkness the villagers bore like a hidden wound. For centuries, they whispered of a cursed veil, a delicate, black lace garment said to have been crafted by a grieving widow in 1760, imbued with a silent malediction that wove itself into the souls of those who dared to touch it. Legend held that the widow, Isolde, had lost her family to a plague and, in her despair, stitched the veil with threads soaked in her tears and a forbidden ritual, binding her sorrow to a vengeful spirit. She gifted it to the village church as a memorial, only for it to become a harbinger of doom. The first to suffer its curse was Mary Evans, a young bride in 1765 who wore the veil during her wedding. That night, her screams pierced the silence, fading into a mournful wail that lingered over Llanwydd. She vanished, and the village awoke to fields shrouded in a black mist, livestock dead with hollowed-out eyes, and a faint, eerie hum emanating from the church. The elders, poring over ancient Welsh manuscripts, discovered the veil's secret. Its silence was a spell, weaving a connection to the spirit of Isolde, who fed on the fear and despair of the living. Every 50 years, the veil chose a new wearer, their life offered to appease the curse, or so the villagers hoped. Few returned, and those who did were broken, their eyes sunken, their voices carrying a haunting echo. Clara Morgan, a 30-year-old historian with a quiet determination, arrived in Llanwydd seeking solitude after losing her mother to a sudden illness. Her analytical mind and reserved nature made her an outsider among the tight-knit community, her presence noted as the curse's cycle approached. The valleys grew darker, the air heavier, and strange shadows flickered in the churchyard at night signs that the veil's time had come. The village believed only the courageous or the doomed could face Isolde's spirit, and Clara's lack of local ties marked her as the chosen one. For more bone-chilling tales that will haunt your nights, subscribe to HS Horror Story on YouTube and step into the shadows with us. The village council gathered in the dim light of the old church, its stained glass windows depicting saints now tinged with an unnatural black hue. Led by Elder Gwilym Davies, a gaunt man with weary eyes, they summoned Clara. "You've been chosen," Gwilym rasped, his voice barely above a whisper. "The veil demands a wearer, and your outsider status makes you fit." Clara's pulse quickened. "Chosen for what?" "I won't wear some cursed rag," she protested. Gwilym's gaze hardened. "It's not a choice. The veil binds you to Isolde's spirit, to calm her wrath, or break the curse if you can endure it." Her objections were met with stony silence. Margaret Owen, the village seamstress, recounted the last ritual in 1975, when young Bethan Lloyd returned with a vacant stare, her hands clawing at the air as if grasping invisible threads, until she vanished into the mist. "It's for Llanwydd," Gwilym muttered, as if the words absolved their decision. That night, under a sky-stained crimson, Clara was led to the churchyard. Her wrists were bound with rough hemp, her pleas swallowed by the wind. The air grew icy, and the church door creaked open, revealing the veil hanging on a rusted hookets, black lace shimmering with an unnatural sheen, silent yet alive. Beside it stood an old woman, the keeper, her face shrouded, her eyes glowing with a sickly light. "Wear it," she intoned, her voice a hollow echo, "or the spirit takes us all." Clara's hands shook as she lifted the veil, its fabric, cold and heavy, like a web of despair. As she placed it over her head, the silence deepened and the ground trembled. The stones glowed, and a figure emerged from the shadows, a gaunt, spectral widow with hollow eyes and a face streaked with black tears, her presence suffocating. Isolde's wail filled Clara's mind, weaving visions of plague-ridden homes, a widow's rage, and a curse stitched into eternity. Clara realized the veil wasn't just a garment, it was a trap, binding her to the spirit's endless hunger. What will become of Clara under the Wailing Veil? Can she unravel the curse, or will she be consumed? Watch the full story on HS Horror. Story on YouTube, where terror takes root. Days later, Clara stumbled back to Llanwydd, her clothes torn, her eyes hollow yet gleaming with an eerie light. The fields bloomed with black, wilted flowers, but the villagers avoided her, whispering. She bore the curse's mark. She was seen wandering the churchyard at night, drawn to the veil's silent call, where some swore they heard her whispering to shadows that moved like threads. The keeper claimed Clara had not broken the curse, but become its vessel, her soul. Now woven into Isolde's lament, the village lived in fear, knowing the curse persisted and Clara was no longer fully human. The truth lies in the churchyard, where the Wailing Veil binds the living to the damned. For more terrifying stories, from the edge of the unknown, subscribe to HS Horror Story on YouTube. Hit the bell icon to stay haunted with our weekly tales of dread.